Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and talk about content. It's confident, easy to understand. It's really, yeah. Bronca, I don't have it. Yeah. Oh, she said yes, she can hear. Um, we're going to talk about how it's easy to understand and what you should do to help your students. Do I got this recorded? I heard it say it was recorded.
Yes, it's showing on my end.
Yeah,
Recorded.
it's being recorded.
Okay, thank you. And I have to move, I think. Okay. Let me start this again because I don't know. What's the problem with that? Let me stop it and start it again. Okay, I don't know what the problem is, but I'm gonna go ahead and start. Okay. How's everybody doing so far? Okay, the learning objectives, we're going to design learning material that encourage student engagement. And I'm going to go a little fast on these few slides because I'm a little late. There's only a half an hour. And I'm going to create a welcoming and inclusive learning environment and create a list of resources. And don't forget, you can just bounce in anytime you want. Creating a list of source of research and websites. You're going to create this list that include tutoring, office hours, supplemental materials, or other resources that may be helpful. Create this list of syllabus, encourage students to use the resources available to them. Let students know how they are to help, how you are to help, and you want them to succeed because we want the students to succeed. Now, do anybody else have any websites that they have on there that students particularly don't mind or care for? You have to point out to students, like in simple syllabus or a rule that students have that you need to, re-emphasize that students follow? Nope, no one. What about the simple syllabus? No rules or website on there? No office hours?
Yeah, I've got that on my simple syllabus.
And
Office hours.
which ones do you think the students, listen to, or office hours, do they come?
No,
Well, what do you think you should do?
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, we will come up with some suggestions for you when I get to that page.
I'm not understanding the question totally. Are you saying,
He says he has office hours on his simple syllabus and no one comes right now.
oh yeah, I
You
agree.
have the
That's the
problem?
problem.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can give them, well, I know you don't like giving points, but maybe you can give 1 point or half a point if they come to office hours. Um, but that could be a good thing. It could mean that students are not having a problem. That's why they're not coming. Do you see the students having a problem?
No, I think they email when they have a problem.
Oh,
They'll just reach out directly to me at any time.
okay. All right. So peer tutoring, creative peer tutoring. This
Mhm.
can be done on ways to help students before they submit their assignments to their instructors. So this helps them in a way that they submit it to their instructors. Your student A will go to student B, and student B will go to student A. Do anybody do that? Do you have student peer tutoring?
No.
No.
I don't either. I don't know how that would work.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it would work like that, but if you don't have it, then um, most people have it when they have papers. They do papers. They let the students grade them. They get a first pass. They can take their student A suggestion or not, and then after that, the instructors grade it. It says work with student support services. Now, this is a good one. If they don't come to you, then you need to go to them. So they can go to the library, they can go to wellness services, that helps them relax before they take your class, student resources, and student accessibilities. And there's even more. There's a whole list of them out there. So I would recommend that, you up your students' services so that they can be successful in your class. So this is all about students being successful in your class. Be supportive and understanding. I know all of you are really supportive in your class. So you remember that everyone learns differently and that some students may need some support more than others. So you find a supportive person. You know, there's 4 P's of support. That's people matters, and you don't understand how people matters. I get, strange and stuff. So if I find somebody else who's struggling like me, and then we work together, it turns out to make the class a whole lot better. So you promote accountability, you help people feel valued, you care about them, you create purpose and creating a supportive work environment where people can thrive, drive performance, and achieve the operational greater good. That always works. And performance, you focus relentlessly on performance and ensure everyone is contributing to the calendar successfully. They're doing their homework on time. You submitting emails or announcements saying, don't forget, such and such is due, such and such is such a day. Don't forget, turn this in. And that's a reminder of students being successful. Progression, don't settle. When students struggle, help them meet their goals. When they're doing well, encourage them to reach higher. And understanding there's 5 things that you can do, or 6. If they can explain their work, they can connect and they can provide examples. They can interpret it, they tell stories, they provide dimensions, they can apply, use what they know in rich context. Have perspective, see points of views through critical eyes, and they're emphasizing they can walk in another one's shoes. So have them walk in someone's shoes. Do what other people do. Have safe knowledge. Know what we don't know. Reflect on meaning or learning and experience. So those are the key ones to understanding and supportive. Don't forget, people always matter. And so there's accommodation. People access to disability service. They can they can include, sorry, my dog. They can include providing support with accommodations such as extended time for exam or for a scribe, like I didn't notice. It took me 5 or 6 years. Some students do not know they have accommodations, but it took me 5 years. Like every time I have a test, an in-person test, it's like I will blink out and I couldn't, see or hear nothing. And I kept saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm a test, test, test. I was saying this all to myself, but I was saying, oh my God, it's test, test, test. And then I'll calm down and then I'll take the test, but that will take 5 or 6 minutes for me. Well, somebody told me, well, that's accommodations, right? I'm like, huh? And after I thought about it and I read it and I looked for it, and it was accommodation on time. And a lot of students need accommodations and they don't even know that. So you might want to suggest that, they have accommodations and that they take advantage of them, like note takers, people who can't type that good or can't take notes. They need note takers. So these are all accommodations. Some people need enlarged text. The text you may have may be too small for them. So I don't know why that happens, but they need bigger text. And these are all permitted to use a calculator. I know some people use it in a lab and they use um Turnitin or that other one I forget. And they need a calculator. And the calculator don't be turned on, but they need a calculator so they can talk to you um and have those instructions done. So take a look at these 9 things and see if your students need accommodations. Maybe you can ask them, but a lot of them need accommodations. And this is the office hours and tutoring. Like you said, nobody comes to your office hours, Clayton. They send you an email or they just don't come. I would offer them to go to tutoring. Tutoring is with the library services. They offer great help. So if they're not coming to your office hours, maybe they need tutoring. So I would suggest them tutoring. Now, if you're answering them via email and that works just fine, let them continue to do that. But if they need help, you should send them to the tutoring and have them get available things that they may know how to do. This says create a welcome and inclusive learning environment. This can conclude being mindful of learning and making sure that all students feel comfortable in the classroom. For example, they shouldn't talking about race or experience. Some people have better experiences than others. When they have these kind of experience, they can share, bring it out, maybe like bring it out on the discussion board. But don't hesitate to tell your students they're using inclusive learning, or they should. Do anybody have this problem in their class? Do they have things that's inclusive?
I think we try to bring that out in the beginning of the class and make ground rules.
Yeah. And what happens when somebody accidentally bring it out or they don't because of exclusive? Do you see your warning works, Barbara?
Well, it's not a warning, more an invitation to participate in a positive and constructive way
Mm-hmm.
and to be sensitive to people's differences.
Yeah, that is true. So yeah, please make sure you bring that up in your class, the beginning of the class, in your syllabus. Bring that out. And this says be flexible with your policy. If a student is struggling, willing to work with them to find a solution that works for them. For that example, the accommodations, the student refund. I know Student Register does that, but they have a student refund and they have a religious accommodation. So if you click on this link, you will go to the students accommodation, the policies, because you have to make sure either no, it's not your problem, it's office of the registrar. But if you notice that a policy is outdated or something, you could send them an email and they'll update it. You can search in here and find the policy. Like say for instance, um, these are all the school policies. Well, these are not all of them because I couldn't get them all on one screen and I didn't want to do them all. So they have lots of policies, student refund, they have student accountability, they have the leave of absence, that's more than us, the student's identification card. So all of these accommodations are for students. And you need to put that on your syllabus to let them know this is where they can find them. And that's it. Do you have any questions or anything about the course or something you want to bring up that I didn't cover? Clayton, Barbara?
I don't have anything that you didn't cover up, but I did learn something about how to deal with office hours and make those useful to students.
Yeah, that could be
Thank you for
useful.
that.
Send them to tutoring if they, then you don't spend all day answering the questions, but sometimes that's what they need if they want to get in depth with them. Barbara,
Yeah,
anything?
I mean, I like the idea of the students working with each other. I'm just afraid that I find students to be mostly pretty overwhelmed and just doing one other thing with the peer tutoring.
Oh,
I don't know if they would
well,
be
most
okay.
people put the peer, it's called a peer review. We have that in Canvas and it's on assignment. So like the assignment, and they probably would be a little stressed, but it'll help their paper. If they have a paper, it'll help their paper tremendously. So they don't only have the instructor's guide, they have a student guide. So it's in the peer review and it's very helpful, I find. But that would mean you would have to extend your assignment because your assignment couldn't be due in a week because they have to have time to submit it to the other student and let the student give it back. So you have to worry about that. So that might be a 2-week assignment or possibly a 3-week. It depends on how much they're given. But I think it could be done in 2 weeks. And they're allowed to take the suggestion or they're allowed to not take the suggestion. So, a student could give grammar changes, that doesn't hurt another student.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
Barbara, to address the whole peer review, it can get a little overwhelming and a little confusing sometimes for students when they're trying to give their peer reviews because a lot of them don't know how to give peer reviews, right? So what I suggest to a lot of faculty is if they want to use peer reviews is provide like guided peer review and sort of like instructions to the students and say, okay, when you're peer reviewing, let's say they're peer reviewing their introduction to a paper, and maybe like an outline, give them some ideas, suggestions, hints, whatever you want to call it, on how to provide that peer review for the students, right? Rather than them coming in saying, oh yeah, this is a great paper, introduction's written great, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not really providing helpful peer review to the other student who's writing the paper. So I think it does, just to help clarify, if you give them like, here's a guide when you're giving peer reviews on what to look for and how to give peer reviews. that's really helpful for students. And then they have an idea of what to look for in the paper.
Yep, that's nice, Bronca. Any more questions? Okay, if there's not any more questions, we can head out.
Thank you for all your insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynette.
You're welcome.
Uh,
Bye-bye.